MJF still hasn't re-signed with AEW, and also comments on CM Punk's WWE return. Elsewhere, we have an update on more major WWE star contracts, and WWE are set to honor Bray Wyatt. It's all in the wrestling news. Hello everybody, Jack and Fraser here with the news. MJF, we're going to start off talking about. He's been talking to the Sports Illustrated Media podcast, Fraser, and he's given us an update on his AEW contract status.
He has indeed. He's saying, I've been saying the same thing about my contract expiration date. I never lied. January 1st, 2024. When stuff like that gets leaked out, it makes me laugh because I remember something leaked out about Cody having secretly re-signed and then showed up in WWE. Something got leaked out about, CM Punk and Tony Khan, or, I think fans leak out things when they want to be true. I love AEW. I want to stay in AEW. After this pay-per-view, which is World's End, it's time to assess the situation for a professional setting. So, not yet. I haven't re-signed. It's interesting that we're this close to the expiration date, and he's maintaining the stance that he hasn't re-signed. I know a lot of people are probably going, that's a load of rubbish, because it feels like he has, I don't know whether he's felt more pro AEW recently with his face turn, but he's had the company behind him, and you don't do that to someone who's not signed to a contract, right?
And the company putting him in that position might have made him look more favorably upon AEW as well, because he's thought, well, they've backed me. Presumably he's doing quite well financially off the back of that. But yeah, it's an interesting one. This quote actually raised more questions for me than it answered those questions.
Okay.
Because the CM Punk stuff and everything, well, he talks a bit more about CM Punk, which we'll get to in a second, but he's kind of positive about Punk and WWE, not over the top, not in an over the top way, but he's definitely keeping things balanced. And I wonder how much of that is how he legitimately feels, and how much of that is to lead into the whole storyline, the bidding war of 2024.
The storyline thing. I think on a professional level, it makes sense to be praising them as well, so that when let's say he has already signed a new contract in 3 years, 4 years, however long it would be, when that time comes around, he's going, hey, look, I never talked rubbish about you, I never talked crap on you. So they might have more interest in him. It's interesting he name drops Cody Rhodes, which is I think the biggest sort of thing where it's like, well, maybe he hasn't re-signed. Cody wasn't to an AEW contract. The same with Jon Moxley last summer. He was their world champion and wasn't signed. So it's still keeping that bidding war of 2024 going, but I don't know how much interest there is there right now.
He's not burned a bridge, he's even reinforced the bridge.
He's reinforced the bridge, yeah.
Also on that very same Sports Illustrated Media podcast, MJF commented on CM Punk's recent WWE return. As I mentioned, he said, I was happy for him. If he's happy, I'm happy. I think he's a hell of a talent. At the end of the day, it's a business, but for some reason, with wrestling, it's looked at differently than any other sport. I see guys getting traded to different teams all the time. That's just life. So he did what he felt was best for him, and the company did what they felt was best for the company. I just hope he's happy. I wish him the best of luck. There is a difference between wrestling and other sports. Yeah. It's not real. But, but at the same time, I kind of get what he's saying. And I think that feeds again into what you were saying about him maintaining a good look, good relations with both AEW and WWE.
Yeah, I mean it's like for anything, you don't burn the bridges. You don't, as you mentioned there, he's reinforced that bridge, because it will only benefit him in the long run. Like, why would you burn that bridge before you've even gone there? Like, it makes no sense to me. Praising CM Punk with this, that makes sense as well, because they worked together. They had a very good rivalry in AEW, and it seems like, for all intents and purposes, they never had any issues that we know of. Yeah,
I wonder if they had that fantastic feud and everything. I wonder if WWE, now that Triple H is in creative control, looks like more of an attractive destination for MJF. Because we saw what happened to the likes of Adam Cole, for example, under Vince. When he moved up to the main roster, for some reason Vince was like, he's only going to be a manager.
He wants him as a manager, right? And that sort of deterred him from going to the main roster, because it was like, well, what's the point? It's not Adam Cole. And we've seen numerous stars come into WWE in the past year, and they've kept everything. Cody Rhodes is the prime example, and we know how close the MJF is with Cody, so I can imagine it's very enticing if he hasn't signed that contract to go, oh, my mate Cody's doing fine, my mate CM Punk's doing fine. Let's test the waters. But I personally think he has re-signed a contract.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of contracts, we have an update as well on various WWE stars' contract situations. As we reported recently, there's news of quite a few major superstars' contracts that are set to expire next year. One of those is Becky Lynch. Her current deal is set to expire in June, and whilst another deal hasn't been reached yet, she apparently has no plans on going anywhere. She was speaking, Fraser, to Strutting from Gorilla.
Strutting from Gorilla. She
What a name.
said, I know, it's a great name. She said, growing up, WWE is what I watched. It's what I loved. It's the reason I became a professional wrestler. Now, having been in it, I love it. I love the people, I love the audience, and I love being able to have an important part of change. I love that I get to continue to drive that, and my voice matters in WWE. I feel listened to, and I feel we've been able to change the landscape of women's wrestling forever. That feels very special to me. It's my home. It's where I was born as a professional wrestler in many ways in terms of my influence, and it's where I'll retire, which feels like she's very set on that. I think what she's saying there is, I'm not leaving.
No bones about it, it seems.
Wolf of Wall Street scene. I'm not leaving.
Also, as we know, Charlotte Flair tore her ACL, MCL, and meniscus earlier this month, an injury that is said to be keeping her out of action for around 9 months. But there's good news, though, because Fightful Select are reporting that she has also, she more than Becky Lynch, she doesn't just plan to stay in WWE, she has apparently signed a contract extension that'll keep her with WWE for more time to come. Fightful also say that it was for a huge money increase and is one of the most highest paid deals to a woman in the history of WWE.
I'm not surprised here because Charlotte Flair, as much as she has her critics, is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, I think it's safe to say that she can have a match that's fantastic with anyone and knows what she's doing in there. And there's probably the thought that what if she does go to AEW because her dad's there
and her husband
and her husband's there.
Did they get married?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. As much as maybe he wants to come back to WWE, that's speculation, but I'm not surprised that they would sign Charlotte Flair at the risk of her going elsewhere.
Another person who's recently signed the contract, as we reported earlier this week, was Rey Mysterio, who reportedly signed a new contract with WWE. And Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter and on Wrestling Observer Radio shed some light on it by saying that it's a 5-year deal for Rey Mysterio.
Big deal. That he'll be in his 50s, I believe, by the time it expires. And for someone who has had numerous knee injuries, it's amazing that he can still wrestle the speed that he does with it. It's
crazy. We also have a reason, courtesy of Dave Meltzer, for the length of these contract extensions. Fraser,
he said on Wrestling Observer Radio, he said, I was told is that they are going they are looking at the long-term deals with greatly increased compensation for the guys because they don't want free agents right now. The big worry is that they will become a free agent and then drift off to AEW or even TNA, because TNA is, we've seen recently they've been teasing a lot of big signings. They've got a lot of big names coming in. I imagine WWE is going, well, there's a lot of competitors right now and we want to keep everyone locked in for a long time.
Speaking of locking things in for a long time, I don't know if that's going to make sense or not. Part 4 of our Golden Age of WWE documentary is set to hit YouTube on Sunday, I believe. It's the final part, I think, as well.
It is part 4, 7 p.m.
And thank you to everybody for watching it so far and the positive feedback it has received. The first 3 parts seem to have gone down very well, so I'm sure a lot of you will be excited for the conclusion. Once again, massive credit to Sam, Justin, and Matt Stewart for working so hard on that. And
I'm very excited for it. December has been it's been so good.
And finally, some nice news here out of a very tragic situation. WWE have done something special for the family of Bray Wyatt, as revealed by Bray's father, Mike Rotunda, on Wrestling Talk. He says, I have to give WWE credit. They've done awesome helping our family out with a lot of different stuff. They put him they put Bray Wyatt, Wyndham, on a Legends contract, and all the proceeds go to his family. They've come out with a collection of memorabilia and shirts. I feel like they have more in the works. They put out a huge line of shirts. I'm not sure if all of what they've come out with if that's all of what they're doing, but people can search his name, and that would really help the kids because they're not going to have their dad anymore. We're trying to set trusts up for them and have them taken care of. It's greatly appreciated by us, and WWE has been more than gracious, in the stuff they've tried to help with. It is appreciated by the Rotunda family.
It's a really, really nice story to hear coming out of such, as you said at the start, a tragic situation, the family getting looked after by WWE. It seems like that is as much WWE is criticised for many things, rightfully so, but the fact that they are going out their way to help and to honour that, and we saw it in AEW as well with Brody's family. It seems like it's a it's a really nice positive step in the world of
Yes.
wrestling to support people like that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for watching this news video. Do leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below, and we'll be back later on today with more wrestling news. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.